Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig podcast, we're reading the recent tea leaves from the Nintendo Direct to decode the future for the Nintendo Switch and maybe even the Switch 2. Read some tea leaves for us, Cody.
Oh, I'm going to read some tea leaves. So we recently had this Nintendo Direct, and, it was an interesting Direct. Some people were really happy with it. Some people were not happy at all with it. Some people were in the middle. But those would be the choices. The big game that was like the big ending, the one more thing game, was a remake of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door.
Right.
The GameCube classic.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. It looked really, really high quality. I wasn't expecting that at all. I've never played that game. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool, but it is interesting that the big game was a remake.
Yeah.
It wasn't a new game.
Right.
We actually didn't get a whole lot of brand new games announced. In fact, I think the only brand new game that was, maybe had a big focus on it was this Princess Peach game.
Showtime.
Princess Peach Showtime, that's right. And we knew about that game already because they announced it without a title in the last Direct, and now we get a title. We know it's called Showtime.
Yep. And we actually know some things about it now. Before, we just knew that Peach stood on a stage.
That's all we knew, right? So, we had some interesting stuff here, but, today's conversation, we're going to be obviously talking about the stuff from the Direct, but we're also going to kind of use that to kind of help us explain or maybe even just predict what the Switch future looks like. When are we going to get Switch 2? What is Nintendo's plans? Because I think this Direct told us a whole lot more than what was actually just in the Direct.
Yes, and what you don't know about me and Randy is that we are psychic.
You'll think you're right the first time. More psycho than psychic, but we're going to try to be psychic today. So put out a poll, just asking you guys, what was your favorite game from the Nintendo Direct? And 60% of people said the Thousand-Year Door remake.
No surprise there.
Yeah. Only 9% of people were interested in that Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake.
No surprise there, and we'll get to that later.
Okay. 13% of people said Princess Peach Showtime, which is the new IP, the new game.
Yeah.
Well, not really an IP, but a new game. And then 17% of people said something else. We had a lot of other things like F-Zero 99. We had another look at Super Mario RPG. We had the Tomb Raider trilogy coming to Switch. And just some other stuff, But
yes. Where did you fall? I know where you fell. You fell on Thousand-Year Door. But you've played it, and you actually have a copy.
I have not.
You're one of the chosen few.
I have a copy, but I have not played it.
Oh, you haven't played it
No,
yet?
I have not played Thousand-Year Door. But I do own a copy for GameCube. Those things were expensive. I think that we were talking to someone on stream the other day.
Yeah, I think it was...
It was Cryptic.
Cryptic.
And they're saying that they were selling their copy, but I said, man, those prices are already going to be dropping, and it turns out it's correct. Those prices started dropping for that game immediately once this was announced, because the whole reason that Thousand-Year Door was so expensive was because it was only on GameCube, it was stuck on GameCube, and that was the way to play it. But now there's going to be another option, which means prices will go down, so who knows. Still, though, Thousand-Year Door on Switch is probably going to be significantly cheaper than the GameCube copy.
Yes.
But in terms of what I was most excited about, I actually think that I was really excited about Princess Peach because it's a new game, and I think that it actually looked pretty high quality. I think it has potential to be something different.
Yeah.
And so I think that was probably the thing that got me most excited. But obviously, the Thousand-Year Door is really cool. I'm definitely going to play it on Switch now that it's available. I'm not even going to worry about trying to play it on GameCube.
Yeah. Well, I differ from you a little bit. I mean, I thought Thousand-Year Door was really cool, and I do want to make time to play that. But before I play the Paper Marios, I want to play Super Mario RPG.
Right.
So that's still where I'm at. I'm still most excited about that because it's a game I've always wanted to play. And now that I'm actually enjoying these old JRPGs, it's a good time to do that. Now, the whole timing the attack and it makes your attack hit everybody thing, I don't think that was in the original.
It wasn't. It was, it was, but it would only hit the person that you were attacking.
Yes, the hitting everything part is the new part, and I don't know that I love that. That takes out, I feel like that's going to take out some strategy.
It probably makes the game easier.
Yeah.
And those games, I don't know about Super Mario RPG, but I know Paper Mario from N64. not the easiest game in the world, not the hardest, but not
Yeah.
the easiest. And it may be that for modern audiences, they may view some of those old RPGs as kind of being a slog.
Yeah.
And
I think so.
And I think that they're probably trying to reduce that. They've probably figured out that, it makes it less of a slog, just get you through it faster and maybe makes it more enjoyable, I would think. At least for the modern audience.
Well, I don't know anything about Super Mario RPG other than that it already had the time mechanic and all that, and it's an old Square Mario RPG. But those old Square RPGs always have like types and effectivenesses, like Pokemon or anything like that. And I feel like that makes the strategy deep. And if every attack I do hits everybody, because it will, because I'll get good at the timing. I kind of wish that wasn't there, honestly. But not everybody is as much of a sadist as I am.
Right.
Yeah. But I think I have a tie because I really was excited to see F-Zero 99 too.
Right. It is a bummer that F-Zero 99 cannot be played with friends online. You just play against randos.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really fun, but we were really disappointed because we were going to try to stream it. And we went through the tutorial, which is not the shortest tutorial in the world for a game like F-Zero.
Yeah.
And we realized we couldn't even play together. So that was a huge bummer. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
Absolutely. We got a comment here from Bobbity who said, I know Thousand Year Door is what everyone hyped, but that Peach game looks so fun. I'm pleasantly surprised and really looking forward to it. It kind of disappointed with F-Zero. Would have loved to see a new one. Speaking of the F-Zero stuff, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that, we have wanted to see an F-Zero game. I should say we, Nintendo fans, have wanted a new F-Zero game for quite a while.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't really include myself in that because I haven't really played F-Zero. I don't really see, I've talked to you about it in the past, being like, why should I want to play F-Zero? Mm-hmm. And now playing a little bit of F-Zero 99, I do see that it definitely has its own vibe.
It does. It definitely does. And I would love to see a new one.
Yeah. Does it, does it have a place in the current Nintendo landscape? Probably, I would say.
I think so.
I think they're probably using F-Zero 99 to test the waters.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that F-Zero 99 gets a lot of installs and Nintendo sees that people are interested and then they do something with that.
Right. And that's probably their mindset, I would imagine. They're either doing that or they're just literally like throwing the fandom a bone. Here's this.
Yeah, just shut up and take this.
Yeah.
It'll be gone in 2 months, but I don't know if it'll be a timed one or not. I hope not.
I don't know because we've had Tetris 99. Mm-hmm. We've had Pac-Man 99.
Yeah.
The only one that I know of that's timed was the Mario 35.
Yeah.
And that's gone. But is Pac-Man 99 gone? Because I kind of feel like they did shut down Pac-Man 99. Like it wasn't getting enough play. So I think they may have shut that one down. But I could be wrong about that.
It's going away in October.
Okay. So they're shutting it down. And I think that was just because it was something like not enough people were playing it. And if not enough people are playing it, okay. I think they should figure out a way to keep it an offline version, personally. Mm-hmm. And maybe they will, but...
Agreed.
I don't know.
All right, we got another comment from Eric Windsor, who says, it's kind of sad that the most exciting thing in this Direct was the re-release of a 20-year-old game, lol.
Well, it is. We were talking about Thousand Year Door being the most exciting thing. It's old at this point. Mm-hmm. And this is what we kind of really brings us to where I'd like more of the conversation to go towards. It's like, what does this mean for Switch? What does this mean for Switch 2? Mm-hmm. And this Direct was very clearly like 90% of it, or, what Nintendo showed was remakes, remasters. There was one new game.
Yeah.
I think that is clear that like Switch is winding down. They're at the tail end. They're giving stuff, but they're relying on their back catalog to make it happen.
Yeah, these are the twilight years of our beloved Switch. And we don't know what the future holds, so enjoy it.
Right.
I think that's the moral.
Yeah. Interesting, we didn't get a date for... we didn't get a date for Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, or did we get a date for that? One of the games we didn't get a date for, and it just said 2024, but we didn't get a date for. I don't know if it was Mario vs. Donkey Kong or if it was Thousand Year Door. One of those games didn't get a date. But interestingly, the Princess Peach game is coming out March 22nd, I think.
That is correct. Yeah, Thousand Year Door is just 2024.
Okay. Princess Peach is coming out March 22nd, which I think is a very interesting date, because the reason I say that is because we've got to decide, like, is the Switch 2, whatever the next Switch system is it coming out in the spring, or is it going to be pushed back to holiday? Now, I think it's going to be one of those two options, I really do. If it comes out in spring, March 22nd would be about the time that I would expect it to come out.
Yes, we were talking about that on stream, I am leaning towards the Super Nintendo Entertainment Switch coming out in holiday, because they have so many games that are coming out in the spring, and they've announced them for Switch. Like, to me, it feels weird for them to then say there'll also be a new Switch and you can play this too. Like, I don't know. It just seems like a hard thing to piggyback on.
It does, unless it's backwards compatible, and or they have these games. When they announce it, they're like, this game is on Switch, but it's also on Switch 2, and look, it plays in 4K 60 on Switch 2, and it's this whole thing, and look at how beautiful it is.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I don't think that, like, the Princess Peach release date gives us, like, a potential. What if March 22nd is the Switch 2 release date?
I don't think so.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's a small chance, but who knows?
I would love that. I would rather have it in spring, because that's sooner.
I don't know. But, people are upset that all are getting these remasters and remakes. We got a comment here from Steve Miller.
Dang.
The Steve Miller.
Dang,
who
Steve
said,
Miller.
People need to wake up and realize they're being sucked from their money from Nintendo. These stupid remakes are getting old. Nothing new, like always. Nintendo is a complete joke and major disappointment. Planning on moving away from the organization very soon. I hate every game they had on that Direct. I'm fed up and sick of these money thieves.
First of all, I didn't realize that my money was doing that. So that's something that I need to address. Second of all, Steve Miller, like...
It's pretty ironic that Steve Miller, who's one of his most famous songs is called Take the Money and Run.
Yeah.
And he's complaining about them being thieves.
I agree.
There's some irony there.
I think it's because he's staying up too late doing the midnight toking.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not familiar with what me and Randy are doing, we're referencing Steve Miller Band songs. Yeah, Steve, did somebody spit in your Cheerios, buddy? Like, I'm sorry that you're unhappy, and if you ever need to talk, join our Discord server and talk to us.
Well, we had a direct reply to Steve, and I will get to that in a minute. But first, before I want to tell you guys about our Twitch, we stream on Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we would love for you to come hang out with us. It's a great place to talk with us directly, and just kind of lots of times while we're playing, we talk video games, we talk video game news. We also just chat, So
yeah, sometimes we just roast each other viciously.
We do.
That's fun too.
All right, so now that we've got through that, let's go ahead and this was a reply to Steve Miller.
Yes, and this is from Luke Mayhew, who I would like to go ahead on the record and say that we should begin calling him Luke Mayhem, because Luke said, "Come on, dude, you aren't a thief for providing a product people want and will pay you for. Besides, Paper Mario is going to be cheaper and better than the GameCube version. Why are you complaining about things other people like?"
Okay, I mean, like...
I love the little keyboard warrior action.
Yeah, Luke's got a point here. It's like, if people are willing to pay for it, they're not stealing money. It's not like they're like, you have to buy this.
This isn't like a Unity situation.
Right. Every time, like, Nintendo does a thing where every time you turn on the game, it charges you like 20 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's theft.
But I mean, like, people do want these games, and people have been asking for a remake of Thousand Year Door for years because it's their favorite Paper Mario game, and they want it to be brought up, and they want it to look pretty, and to because at the end of the day, it's an amazing game. I'm sure. I know it is because people love it.
It's a classic for a reason, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I don't know if people are willing to buy it. If these remakes and remasters didn't make money, they wouldn't do them.
That's a fact. And I mean, people are, might be upset, especially Steve, that, we're getting so many remakes and the most hyped game is a remake of an old game and all this. But people forget, like, some of those old games are freaking fire. Yeah. So, like, getting those games, to a new audience and a new system with some better graphics, as long as they don't mess them up, that's a win for everybody.
Right. And I think that you're onto something when you say like a new audience. Like for many, many people, these might as well be new games because they've never played them.
Right. There's so many Switch fans and Switch owners who are like 12.
Right.
They didn't have no GameCube. You know?
Right. Or just people like me who like, you know, like the Switch really got me back into gaming.
Yeah.
And although I've been gaming my whole life, there are games that I missed that have been brought to the Switch. And that was the way I experienced them for the first time.
Right. I mean, I had a GameCube, but I didn't have Thousand Year Door.
Right.
I was a kid, you know, you can't have every game.
So for you, it's a new game too. And it's just how it is. So for many people, these are new games to them. And the thing is, it's really hard to get some games. Like Thousand Year Door is a great example because that game was stuck on GameCube. It was over $100 on, you know, to buy just a copy of it.
Yeah.
It's super expensive. And that in itself is like, that's, which one would you rather do? Have to go out and buy used copies that are skyrocketing in price or have Nintendo provide a higher quality remake for probably half the price or less?
Or sail the high seas.
Yeah, well, that's always an option.
Or a combination of the three.
Yeah. I don't know.
This just makes me wish they'd remake Chrono Trigger so I could pick up a cheaper copy of the original. That's what I've learned from this Paper Mario experiment.
And it is. It's like the more options people have, the better. I really do think. I don't think there's anything wrong with...
Nothing wrong with options.
Now, if it's not worth it to you, that's totally cool. Like, if you're like, hey, it's just not worth it to me. I just don't think... I get that too.
Me too.
But they're not stealing your money. Oh, Steve.
All right, hit us with Progs.
Oh, Prague says, how naive I was to think there would ever be a new Donkey Kong. Progs, I don't think you're naive. I really don't. I have been on the give us a new Donkey Kong train for a while now. In fact, that was my big prediction for the Summer Direct. I wanted there to be a new Donkey Kong game. It didn't happen. I do think there is a new Donkey Kong game. There's been rumors about a new Donkey Kong game for years now.
I think Donkey Kong is dead and buried and we'll never see another release as long as we live.
You're lying.
I think we'll go to the grave without a new Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
For the Switch.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. That's the question. Is like, and we actually did a poll on this.
That was a segue.
That was a segue. Right. The poll was, will Donkey Kong get a new mainline game on Switch?
That's right. At 25%, people said, yep, DK will get a new game on Switch and it will totally slap. And then at 75%, people said, no, DK won't get a new game on Switch, but if he did, it would totally slap.
So, I mean, like, we have a comment here from Jay who said, it's just too late. Even if there is a new Donkey Kong game in development, they'd save it for the next system. Yeah. I think this is kind of what I'm leaning towards.
That's where we're at.
Yeah. In fact, it may be that a new Donkey Kong game is done. Like, it's just, they've got it.
Sitting on a shelf.
Sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Somewhere in Mr. Miyamoto's house.
We've heard about this from Nintendo, like from reports over years. We've had that the new Mario Kart game is reportedly rumored it's finished. It's been finished. But they have no incentive to release it because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still keeps selling like crazy. Right. So for the same reason that we may not get, well, not for the same reason, but we may not get a new Mario Kart game on Switch. Technically Mario Kart has skipped the Switch. I know we can't really.
It sure doesn't feel like
it. It doesn't feel that way. But Donkey Kong didn't, in the same way, Donkey Kong didn't skip the Switch because we had Tropical Freeze. It's the same exact thing as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold so well, yeah, it feels as if we,
Well, they didn't call it Tropical Freeze Deluxe.
What do they call it?
They called it Tropical Freeze.
They called it Tropical. But
it increased. It introduced Funky Kong. Right. So,
it was a deluxe version of sorts.
But all that was an easy mode.
Yeah. So, yeah, I get it. And
that game is so good. Like, I freaking love Tropical Freeze. That's why I want a new one so bad.
Well, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
And I want a new Mario Kart, too. But
like I said, apparently it's done.
But we have gotten a lot of new content for Mario Kart. Like, they've doubled the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they literally have changed the meta of the game. Yeah. So, I just don't think that it's perfect apples to apples, but I do see where you're coming from.
Right.
All right. So, Jed said, they revealed some fun games at the last Direct, and they made it obvious that this is the end of the bigger lineup for the Switch. Many of their bigger projects, like Metroid or even another F-Zero, have moved on to the Switch, too.
Right. I'm absolutely convinced with you there. I think Metroid Prime 4...
F-Zero.
I don't think Metroid Prime 4 is coming to Switch. If there is an F-Zero game that's being made, which I kind of don't think there is, honestly.
I don't either.
If it is, it's definitely going to be on the next one.
Yeah. And I think the same thing for Donkey Kong, and I think for 3D Mario.
Oh, yeah. Imagine we have a launch of the next Switch system, and we have Metroid Prime 4. We have a new 3D Mario game. We have a new Donkey Kong game at launch. I don't think we're going to get an F-Zero game, but if we have...
they launch with an F-Zero game?
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that'll set the
Do
world
they
on
want to
fire.
sell consoles or not?
I mean, like...
Take my freaking money.
The thing is they don't make F-Zero games for a reason. And it's not that there aren't some people who... Well, I'm just saying, like...
The Coyote throwing shade.
I'm sure there are a bunch of people who want an F-Zero game. I'm sure it exists. And I'm saying this as someone who hasn't played an F-Zero game, so don't even listen to me. But I'm guessing that they've done the market research and they know that the F-Zero games just don't sell well enough for them to continue to make them.
Okay.
There's a reason why we get new Zelda games all the time. Because they sell really well. If they didn't sell well, they wouldn't make them.
That is true.
I don't think they're doing it just to make people mad is what I'm getting at.
I agree with that part of what you said, and I think you're doing a great job otherwise.
Okay. You just don't want to admit it. You just don't want to say it.
No, I just think it's funny that you said they don't make F-Zero for a reason. I would love to see that clipped. Yeah. No, I mean, clearly it doesn't sell as good as Zelda.
Right.
You know? I mean...
At the end of the day, they're a business, you know? But I'm not saying that they shouldn't put, you know, there should be more small projects. Because I think there should be more small gaming projects. I think that the fact that we have gotten to where every game needs to be this AAA, huge, giant thing, I don't think it's a good thing.
The same things happen to movies.
Yeah.
There's no point in making a movie unless it's going to be a freaking blockbuster.
Right.
You know, and I don't like that either.
No, because it stops small projects.
Yeah.
But I don't know why things have had to be that way, but maybe it'll shift away. Maybe because we've seen things like we had just Immortals of Avium recently, huge AAA game that flopped harder than anything. People aren't even, it's not even that it was a bad game, it just didn't set the world on fire.
More like Immortals of Failvium.
Right. And because of that, you know, they just had to lay off like half the people that worked on it because it just flopped hard.
Yeah.
And it was like, if it doesn't take the world by storm, it's like deemed a failure.
Yeah.
And it's because they sunk so much money into it. We need smaller projects. And I do think that the Nintendo is a company that can do that. And they have done that, but they're definitely not all in on it.
No.
I wish they would do it, but I think that that's the reason we haven't seen an F-Zero is because they think like we got to have the next, you know, huge thing.
Right.
And F-Zero is probably not going to be that.
Right. But then you have those moments when Nintendo does release something that historically is a little smaller, like Metroid Dread, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a freaking jam. Everybody loves it. It sells great. And now there's more hype for Metroid than there has been in a really long time.
Right. I think they should do it. I just think I understand why they haven't, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on from Coyote's soapbox on F-Zero and why you shouldn't like it.
No, it's F-Zero 99 when I played it was fun. I really do think it's fun. I get why people like it. I know.
I
get it.
But we have to tell you about our Discord server, because if you want to jump on Randy's case for the fact that he just slammed F-Zero fans, there's only one place to do it, and that's the Discord server. So go to the link in the description of this video and click that bad boy and join up.
Yep, it's a great place. We'd love to hang out with you. You can find out when we go live on Twitch, when we post new videos on the main channel, when we post podcasts. All of it's there on the Discord server. So we'd love to have you there. Speaking of the Discord server, I got this next comment from our Discord server.
Well, I'll be.
And this is from Tom Derry. This is on the Donkey Kong thing. And he said, I didn't think Donkey Kong had a big fan base. Nintendo did, though, just announce Diddy and Funky Kong for Mario Kart, though. Is that foreshadowing or just filling out a roster?
I think, first of all, I was really excited that Diddy Kong got in Mario Kart, because that's so close to Diddy Kong Racing, and that makes me so happy. So I think Diddy Kong's my new main in Mario Kart, by the way. And I love that, Randy, your response to that was, it's hard to have a big fan base if they don't give you games.
I did say that on the Discord.
And it's true. Like, how are you going to have a big fan base if you literally skip the most successful console you've had since ever?
I do think it's weird with Donkey Kong, too, because I feel like Donkey Kong is one of Nintendo's like most well-known IPs.
100%.
And, you know, it just seems strange to me that Donkey Kong isn't getting a game on Switch, and that makes me wonder, like, how did Tropical Freeze do?
I don't know. I don't know how it did. It was on the Wii U, so probably not well.
I know. Well, it was also on Switch too,
Yeah.
and Switch obviously has done very well.
I don't know how well it sold.
I think they've kind of shot themselves in the foot with Tropical Freeze on Switch because it's a 2D game, and I'm not saying 2D games aren't worth full price. I do think that, but it's a 2D port of a Wii U game, and it's $60 still. And the reason I say they've shot themselves in the foot is that I think the audience for Tropical Freeze is lower because, one, it's a 2D game, two, it's a port, and then number three, and maybe most importantly, it's a difficult 2D platformer. Like, it's not a casual 2D platformer. Your Mario fans, all the kids out there, they're not going to be able to get through Tropical Freeze the same. And they're not, like, I wouldn't recommend it to a kid who is wanting to know, like, what other game should I play?
You might be able to, though, with Funky Kong. And I think that's why they did it. Because the whole thing with Funky Kong is, like, you have, all the different Kongs in the game, and they all have a different ability.
Right.
And it makes, like, traversal easier and certain obstacles easier or just not a problem.
Right.
And Funky Kong has all of it.
So maybe that's
spikes can't hurt you. Like, there's a lot of things that.
So
Funky Kong,
maybe that would be the way to go. But it is a difficult game. I think I don't remember who it was that commented, and in fact, it may have been Tom. No, I don't remember who said. Someone left a comment talking about how maybe it was Landon. Someone, I can't remember. Someone left a comment saying how difficult the game was, and that it was just a tough game to play, and it was especially tough in co-op because you kind of like interact with each other, and it makes it more difficult.
So in 2022, there was a tweet saying that Tropical Freeze had become the 5th Donkey Kong Country title to sell over 3 million. And in 2021, the Donkey Kong series as a whole surpassed 65 million in sales.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not a small IP.
So 3 million, I mean, that's kind of the big number that we look at for games to see if are they uber successful. 3 million is kind of the number. And that's
took a while to get there. But
yeah. Well, Dread passed 3 million. We found out recently.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what makes it the best-selling Metroid game of all time.
Yeah.
So that's, great.
That is great.
But, if we had gotten a new Donkey Kong game, I just wonder, well, now we know Tropical Freeze did sell well between, I'm assuming that's Wii U and Switch combined, right?
I think it was. I already closed the tab. We're just going to say we think it was.
Yeah.
And we would be remiss if we didn't mention that, we did get Mario versus Donkey Kong. How did you feel about that?
I've not, it looks interesting. I've not played any of those games.
Me neither.
It looked puzzle game-ish.
Yeah.
Like an action platformer puzzle sort of deal. Mm-hmm. I tend to like games like that. I think games like that don't present well. You look at it and you're like, what even? This doesn't look that interesting. But I do think those types of games are more fun to play than they are to look at. So I think that there's potential. I might like the game. But, it didn't make me super excited. No. What about you?
Me neither. I've always heard about those games, like people liking them on the Game Boy Advance.
Right, and then they had a bunch of DS games. There's a bunch of them. There's a lot of those Mario vs. Donkey Kong games.
So, if I was going to play one, I would probably just emulate it, if I'm being honest.
Especially this just being a remake. It's like the first game remade. Yeah.
So I don't see myself picking this one up unless it just lights the world on fire. But it's not that I'm unhappy to see it. It's not what I wanted when I heard that we may have a Donkey Kong, appearance.
Right. Yeah. Especially since Donkey Kong is in the game, but you don't play as Donkey Kong. I don't think.
No, you don't.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of tough. But now that we know that. We've kind of seen what this Direct has to offer. This may potentially, I can't say for sure, but there's potential that this may be the last Direct that we have that is just about the Nintendo Switch. There could be a scenario in which early in the beginning of next year, we can get an announcement of whatever the Switch successor is going to be, Switch 2 or whatever. And at that point, future Directs will be, maybe splitting their time between the Switch and Switch 2.
That would be
like
exciting.
how we used to have when we had 3DS stuff in the Nintendo Directs, which hasn't happened in many years now, but used to be both.
That would be very exciting.
Yeah.
I would love to see some split time. Just because I want to hear that. I just want them to tell me there's a new Switch.
So I don't know when we're going to get Switch 2. I don't know. I do feel pretty confident that it's going to be in 2024. I I'm leaning towards holiday, but I could see it coming at any point.
Well, I hope it's earlier than holiday, but I'm thinking holiday too.
Yeah.
But as long as we get an announcement, that'll hold me over. But we better go ahead and start wrapping this thing up, Randy. We got to leave for a gig here in about 15 minutes.
Yes, we do. So we're going to go ahead and get into the last segment of the podcast, which is the 3 for Dale Club. If you made it to the end of the podcast, we want to shout you out at the end of the next one, and we do that through our 3 for Dale Club.
That's right. 3 for Dale is our exclusive code phrase, and all you got to do is drop us a comment in the YouTube version of the podcast. Say whatever the heck you want to say, but make sure you include the phrase 3 for Dale in your comment.
Yep, that lets us know that you made it to the end, and we'll shout you out next time. Starting off today, we're starting off strong with a return 3 for Dale member, D18. Glad you're back.
What to do, D18. Next up, we've got our favorite Aussie, AJK,
That's
a.k.a. Anthony.
That's right. Next, we got Tom Derry, who we read one of his comments earlier. Obviously a Discord member. We'd love for you to be a Discord member as well.
Yeah, we would. Next up, we got Memo, who left us a comment saying that it's a crazy time to be a gamer with so many good games to play, and I second that.
Yes, it is lots of great games this year, and it is a cool time to be a gamer. Next, we got Landinator, who says that they're enjoying Starfield despite its problems. Last episode was pretty much dedicated to Starfield, so that's why we're talking about that. Agreed. Yeah. Also enjoying Starfield despite its problems. There are certainly issues. It's, but it's still fun.
I'm looking forward to diving into more Starfield this week. Next up, we got Bobbity, who, when he's not bringing back Majin Buu, likes to say that Starfield is his contender for Game of the Year.
Yeah, he says it's a contender. Maybe not
a contender.
Yeah, a contender.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, Bobbity.
Do I think that it's going to be in the Game of the Year conversation? Ooh.
There's just so many dang games.
It's a tough
That might be a future podcast.
Yeah, that is I don't know yet. I need to keep playing it, to be honest with you. But there's been so many great games this year. If you had what do they use, like five games or something like that?
I thought it was only 4, but maybe it's 5.
Maybe 6.
They always include an indie, so that's going to be Sea of Stars.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Finally.
That's all I know.
Finally, we got Landon Stallings, who has been a member of the 3 for Dale Club every week for as long as I've been alive. And Landon, glad you're back. Landon says he wants a port of Twilight Princess HD to the Switch.
I think we all do.
I think we all do. He said yes, he knows it's on GameCube, it's on Wii, it's on Wii U, it's been on everything, but he wants it on Switch.
It's even on Steam Deck.
Yeah. I would love it. That's the one 3D Zelda game that I have not played. So if it came to Switch, I would be thrilled.
Yeah, I would love for there to be all the 3D Zeldas on the Switch, just because I think that is awesome. So if we got Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD, that would round out the whole lineup, and I think that would be a really cool notch in the Switch's belt.
Oh yeah, very cool. All right, guys, well, that's it for today. Until next time, I'm Randy.
Which makes me Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Go Braves!